Good morning, everybody.
Morning, everybody. I'm Becky,
I'm Spencer.
and we are here for Sunday school. We're so glad you joined us. If you received your coloring papers in the mail, you can pause this if you'd like and run and go get your coloring sheets. You'll need those in just a little bit. But we're going to start with music.
Yes, we are. So this week we are talking about hospitality. So what is hospitality, Becky?
Hospitality is being kind when you are hosting or when you're having a party or have visitors. Hospitality is when you do special things to make them feel welcome when they come. And
Yeah,
so, yeah.
yeah, good. Okay, so that's what our first song is gonna sing about. So I'll just teach us the chorus for now, and then we'll learn the verses later. So the chorus goes like this. Hospitality, courage and kindness, grace is what we need to be compassionate, showing God's love to everyone that we meet. Yeah, so let's do that one. We'll break it up just a little bit. So the first couple lines are hospitality, courage and kindness. So let's do that again. Hospitality, courage, and kindness. Yeah, so there's that. And then the next lines are grace is what we need. Let's do that one more time. Grace is what we need to be compassionate, showing God's love to everyone that we meet. Let's sing the whole thing one more time. Hospitality, courage, and kindness. Grace is what we need to be compassionate, showing God's love to everyone that we meet. So there's our first little bit of our first song for the week, I guess.
Yes. Thank you, Spencer.
You're welcome.
All right. We are going to do our story now, and we're going to act it out, boys and girls. So we need some actors for this story today. If you don't have enough people to be all the parts at your house right now, you can be multiple people in this story, okay? So we need Abraham, we need Sarah, we need the visitors, and we need some servants. So you can play all the parts, or you can just play one of the parts and assign them to other people. So I'll pause for just a minute. You need an Abraham, a Sarah, the visitors, and some servants. Okay? This is from the book of Genesis, and it is a story that you can find in your Spark Storybook Bible. And it is Genesis 18, 1 through 18. 1 through 8, I'm sorry. It looks like this in your book. It's on page 34. So if later this week you want to read that story at bedtime with moms and dads, you can find it in your storybook Bible. All right, are you ready to act it out? It was a hot afternoon. Abraham, everybody who's Abraham, was sitting at the entrance of his tent near an oak tree when God appeared to him. Here's how it happened. Abraham looked up and saw 3 men standing nearby. So visitors enter the scene. He ran out to meet them. So Abraham do some running. He bowed and said, "Please don't pass by. Let water be brought. Wash your feet. Rest for a while under the tree. I'll bring you bread. You rest, and then you can pass on. Since you have come here, I will serve you." And they said, "Do it. That sounds great." And so he hurried into the tent and told Sarah. So Sarah, come on the scene. He says to Sarah, "Get your flour." Sarah, get busy now. Get and knead it and make some cakes. And then he ran to their herd of animals. He chose a tender calf and gave it to the servants. Now, servants, whoever your servants are, get busy. Who prepared all that food into hamburger and meat. And Sarah is busy making bread and cakes. And then, when all of that was done, Abraham gathered all that food and brought it to the visitors. He prepared it for them and set it all out. But Abraham not only gave all that food to them, but he stayed close by, under the trees, while they ate. That is our story for today. I hope you enjoyed acting it out. I would like you to go now and find your coloring sheets. If you have coloring sheets that look like a storybook, that are 3-4 pages, Spencer has those. They look like that. If you have the older coloring page, it looks like this. All right, so let's color a little bit and chit-chat about our story. So Spencer, how do you think Abraham felt when he first saw those 3 men?
Well, I'm sure he was maybe excited about having visitors. Um, I kind of feel like maybe back in those times, people didn't have visitors very often, so it was always exciting. Maybe he was a little nervous, but I don't think he would probably be very nervous if you're making food for all those visitors. So I think he was probably pretty excited. What do you think?
I think so too. I think he was excited. And preparing food, particularly back then, you couldn't go through the drive-through. It took a long time to make all that food. So you know how I kind of said, hurry around when we were telling the story?
Yeah.
That's probably how he felt, was like, we gotta hustle. We gotta get this food made for all our visitors.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you think that the men felt when Sarah and Abraham showed them compassion by making the food?
I would bet that they felt welcomed, special. Um, I think it always feels really nice when you go to someone's house and they offer you to sit down or some food or just some company. That was the other thing I really liked about Abraham is that he not only gave them the food, but he sat with them. And a lot of times that's all people want when they come to visit is to spend time with you. So,
Yep, I would agree. Yeah.
so what do you think if you had been Abraham and Sarah, what would you have done?
I think I would like to think that I would have done the same thing. I grew up in a place where we always had visitors and guests stopping by. And one of our most common things was, if it was in the later afternoon or closer to dinner time, my mom would say, well, just come on, stay for dinner. And so then we'd all have dinner around the table. So that's kind of how I grew up. So I would like to think that I would maybe show some hospitality and do the same thing. But I don't know. How about you?
I have been to your house and that's exactly what you did. So I think you would too. I grew up similarly, that I had a grandma, a great grandma actually, and we would go to her house and it would always make me smile because she would say, oh, come on in, have a little lunch. And then it was like she set a whole huge table full of tons of food. And our little lunch became basically a meal. And that was how she showed her hospitality to whoever visited. And yeah, those were good memories.
Yeah. So if you were going to make someone your favorite meal to show hospitality, what would you make?
I have kind of a sweet tooth, so it would be something cake, cookies, pie, apple crisp right now in the fall. That's what I would make. Something sweet, I think.
Uh, mm, I don't know. If I'm making a meal, um, I don't know what I would make. I think the last time I had people for dinner or people over for dinner, it was I made a big pot of soup, and
Mm.
it was Italian soup. It was very good. But I'm also kind of along the lines of the sweet tooth. I like desserts a lot, so I think I would probably make a cake. That's my usual go-to is making cake.
And I'm not gonna lie, I like the convenience of takeout, so ordering a pizza is never a bad thing.
Yes. Yeah.
A nice thing in this world. So here, I'll show you my coloring page here has the verse on it, and I hope that if you did coloring on this page, or Spencer, you can read to the kids your little story there.
Yeah. So it says Abraham was sitting outside when strangers arrived near the tent. So it shows um, the tent and the strangers. And I copied mine on two sides, so that's why you see the other side. But then it says he ran out and to meet them, offering them food and rest and drink. So there's some. It looks like a chicken leg and or turkey leg or some sort of a leg and then grapes and a pear and a pitcher of water.
Mm-hmm.
And then the strangers accepted the hospitality, and so then there's their pitcher or the glass and then a leg. So yeah, so that's that's what I colored.
Great. It might have taken you guys a little longer, so if you still need time to color, take as much time as you need. After this Sunday school lesson is turned off, you can keep coloring. Becky hung hers up here on my little chart. You can put them in your bedroom, you can hang them up, you can put them on the fridge, wherever you want to put your coloring. So I'm glad you could join us. And those questions that Spencer and I talked about, you are welcome to answer. Talk to your parents about them. Talk to your siblings about those. What would you do? What would you serve if you were being hospitable to somebody who is visiting?
So the story is a beautiful reminder that when we show compassion and kindness to other people, we are showing compassion and kindness to God. How could this change the way you see other people in your life, especially those you don't know very well? Yeah.
So each week, when we're done coloring, we are going to do compassion and action. And this is something that during your week at home, you can do something compassionate for someone else. And this week, because this story in Genesis is talking about providing food and drink for others, I want you to think about how you could do that for the people in your life. How could you be compassionate by sharing food and drink? Maybe it's to your mom and dad. Could you make them something or bring them a drink of some kind that they would be nourished by? Could you serve your pets? Could you get them some food or drink that they might need? Could you serve your younger kids here, your dolls or your stuffed animals? Could you have a tea party and serve them? That would be a way to be compassionate to others. And then my older kids watching, how can you be compassionate in this community? Could you do a little research and find out how you could maybe give to South Dakota, Feeding South Dakota, or Lunches Served, or other places in our community that give back with food and nourishment to our community? And so I encourage you this week to spend some time together talking about that and taking action in a compassionate way this week. So, all right, we are going to close in prayer and then we're going to sing it out, that song with Spencer. So, for our prayer time, I want everybody to take a deep breath in, hold it, and blow it out. Come and gather, fold your hands. Dear God, thank you for Abraham and Sarah and the ways they teach us to be compassionate by caring for people we may not even know. Help us to show your love for others through our hospitality by giving generously of what we have. And all God's children said, Amen.
All right, so let's sing our song again. So I'll kind of kick it off with a little intro, and then we'll sing the refrain, and then I'll sing the verse for this week. All right? Hospitality, courage, and kindness, grace is what we need to be compassionate, showing God's love to everyone that we meet. One day, three hungry strangers appeared to Sarah and Abraham. Please stay for lunch, we have enough to share with everyone. Hospitality, courage, and kindness, grace is what we need to be compassionate, showing God's love to
All right. Thank you, everybody. We will see you next week.